Okay, hi guys. I wanted to do another video today and just introduce you to how I became a pagan and where my path started. So I asked my youngest son, Joey, to come in because he's the reason that I started down this path. This is my youngest son. I have 4 boys, but this is the youngest. His name is Joey. And let me give you just a little bit of background. First of all, Joey was born a medium and started out before he could talk, seeing people who had crossed over. Before he could talk and understand anything about it, it started with night terrors, like he'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming and was inconsolable, and we couldn't figure out why that was. And eventually he got a special visitor that kind of, I think, helped you learn how to deal with that, right? With seeing people who had crossed over, which was when I was pregnant for Joey, I had a miscarriage and I lost his twin. And I don't mean to sound cold about this. I always feel like if you had a really hard time with a miscarriage, that's okay. That's the way you dealt with it. But I did not have a really hard time. I just felt like the universe knew what it was doing, and we never really mentioned it to our other kids. It was the twin that we lost was towards the end of the first trimester. I think it was about 2.5 months. And
they haven't said anything to us, and I was like, so what was up with my twin?
And really, he just had started to talk and started talking about his brother. And so we'd go through. Do you mean Frankie, the oldest? No. Do you mean PJ, the second oldest? No. Do you mean Dustin? No. The other brother. And it took us a little while to figure out that he was talking about the twin that I had lost. Towards the end of 2010, the beginning of 2011,
because I have long talks with my twin in the dream state, and we were talking about, different religions, and I was Christian at the time, and he was talking about the Green Man. I remember specifically. He talked about the Green Man because I saw this face in this tree of bark. There's a face in there, and he was like, "Oh, that's Green Man." So I started asking my cousin Samantha about it, and she told me a Green Man was in her religion, Paganism. So I started talking to her about it. And
you can stop if you want. I just wanted to introduce him. So, he's the one that started me on this path that I'm in.
Awesome.
Because he's awesome. And so I really, at that point, felt like, who am I to deny the universe? I felt like there was a lot of things that were coming together to put me on this path and to put my family on this path. And I had grown up Roman Catholic. My husband had grown up Catholic, but had questioned some of the belief systems of the religious right in this country, specifically their right to judge other people. I'm a Libra, and have always fought for justice since I can remember. When I say I was a Catholic, I was really following the Catholic path. I was in a youth group that I absolutely loved. I loved the people that I grew up with, but I feel like they maybe were not led in the correct direction. Or I guess, really, I feel like I was not led in the correct direction for me. Like I said, being a Libra, I've always fought for what I believe to be right, and I believe in the rights of everyone to follow what they believe, including Catholic and Christian, and I don't want you to think I'm bashing any other religion. It just was not ever the thing for me. And to be honest, I would bash a little bit when I feel like they judge other people or feel like they have a right to judge other people for living their life the way they think their lives should be led. I'm a huge advocate for gay rights, for the rights of the poor, which I think income disparity in my country, in the United States, is a huge deal right now, and I really feel like eventually there has to be some change somehow, but it's going to have to come from us poor people, from the people who are not in the top 2%, top 1% of the income. Eventually they're all going to have to wake up and decide that they want a voice in this country. Having said that, I don't want to get on a political rant, but that had a lot to do with why I was so drawn to being a pagan. I consider myself to be what I would call an eclectic pagan. I do consider myself to be a witch. However, those are just labels. And to me, this religion was walking the path of the old ways, connecting with nature, connecting with the spirit that is in everything. I see spirit in the trees, in the wind, in the moon, and I don't believe that there is one God and he's a masculine God and there's no female counterpart to that. I have always been very drawn to nature. I love working with dirt and herbs and the wind, and I think I mentioned in my last video, which was the tour, that I right now anyways am very connected since I started this path, so for 4 years, with the element of air, and I think that that is a changing thing too. I think that I won't necessarily always be more connected with air than with water or fire or earth. Earth I connect with on an incredible level. I cannot wait until there isn't any more snow on the ground so I can walk barefoot. It's wonderful. To me, that's the best feeling in the world, is to feel the earth under my feet, to feel the wind in my hair. I connect with this way of life, religion if you want to call it a religion, because I don't believe that we judge others. Now, I have been disappointed in the past to see online, which of course, when you first start out this path, you don't have, normally, I didn't, most people that I've talked to didn't, have someone to look up to and say, how do I do this? I know I got every book I could lay my hands on and soaked it up. I felt like a sponge, just wanting to learn as much as I possibly could about this path and how I go about being on this path. And I took the parts that I felt connected with me, and the parts that I didn't feel I connected with, more power to those of you who connect with them. Part of the reason that I love being a pagan witch is that I do what feels right to me, what connects me with Mother Universe. And I'm disappointed to see that there are a lot, I don't know what a lot is. There are people online who are very judgmental about this path. And to me, that's why I love this path so much. I'm so passionate about being who I am in this path, because I don't feel like we judge as much. I love being a witch. I connect with nature every day. I look out for the cycles of the universe. The lunar cycles mean so much in my life, and why wouldn't they? They're a huge part of our universe. I think that magic has so much to do with intent. And to me, if I do a spell, I'm turning my intention towards whatever that spell is for. If I do a spell for increased income, to me, that is not some mojo evil thing. It means I'm turning my intention toward that goal and doing everything that I can in my power to make that goal become a reality. And if that means burning some herb that tells the universe that this is my intention, if that means making up a chant in my head that says, universe, I'm ready for this extra income. I have a goal set in mind for this extra income, and I'm going to use it to your betterment. Why is that any different than a prayer? I think that we get caught up in labels so much these days that it's really sad. And if anything, I feel sorry for the people who judge until they try to stop the rights of others. This whole thing in Indiana really ticks me off. I'm very upset. I literally have tried. I've written letters. I don't live in Indiana. I live in New York. But if it can happen there, it can happen here. And as far as I'm concerned, we're all a part of the universe, and I want this universe to be the best universe it can be. And I don't think that means telling my neighbor who they're allowed to love. And how fucking dare you tell someone else that their love is affecting you somehow. Screw you. And I'm sorry I get so upset about it. I really try not to. But I think because I feel that I'm a connected part of the universe, it upsets me so much that something that I'm connected to is so ugly. So, this video is supposed to be about my path. I did start my path because of my youngest son, and I knew as soon as I started it that this was the path that I was going to be on for the rest of my life. I learned something new every day. I said I started out as a sponge. I still feel like that. I still feel like a sponge. I buy every book I can get a hold of, and if it doesn't connect to me, then that's okay. I try to pass it along to somebody it does connect to. I believe I am for the most part a solitary worker. I do have a coven built in with me because I have a large family, and my youngest son and my oldest son and I all identify ourselves as pagan and follow that path. My two middle sons don't identify with anything right now. My two middle sons are 21 and 15, and frankly think they're too cool, I think, to identify with anything. But someday I hope maybe they'll, find the path that's right for them. I also have a couple very good friends who come out and are part of our coven on special holidays, and when the weather gets warmer, I see them more, because if you live in New York or live in an area that's cold, it's like hibernating in the winter. I'm so glad. I have my windows open today, although it is kind of snowing on and off still. Yes, I can't believe it. Here it is. In April and April 4th, and we're still getting snow. Are you kidding me? The Holly King can let go anytime now, please. So that's one of the things I'm actually going to be doing tomorrow is a spell to try to help the Holly King let go, because I've had enough. So if anyone has any questions, or I didn't answer things in way that you understand, please feel free to comment at the bottom. I do read the comments, and I will try to answer anything you have back. I challenge you to live the life that the universe has led you to live. On a side note, I will say that not everyone in my life, in my professional life anyways, knows that I'm a pagan. I don't hide it, but I don't put it out there, out in front of me, because people are ignorant and I think afraid of the unknown. Although I do think that now I have been at the job that I'm at for a little over a year now, and I think that most people know that I'm a pagan, and I do talk about it, and I have bumper stickers on my car, and I wear a pentacle, and so people, and I bring crystals to work with me, and I don't hide it by any means, but you know, we've had some problems in public schools. My kids go to public schools, and my youngest, we had problems. Before we moved to this district, we had problems with his school saying he can't bring herbs in because someone turned him in and said he was carrying marijuana in school when it was lemongrass and lavender. And even when they found out it was lemongrass and lavender, they tried to say that it was a medicinal thing, and he would have to leave it in the nurse's office if he wanted to smell it, he was using it for aromatherapy. So if he got angry, he would smell it instead of wanting to punch a kid out. But they tried to say it was a medicinal thing. And had I had money, I would have sued the pants off of them. But I didn't, so you deal with what you have to. Now we've moved, and so far we haven't had a problem in the school we're in, so that's good. Anyways, if you all have any questions at all, if you want to know anything, please ask. I have no problem. That's why I made this channel, is because I want to share my path. I do think that the universe has put me on this path for a reason, and I will share as much as I possibly can. Blessed be to anyone that also celebrates Christianity. Happy Easter tomorrow. I'm going out to celebrate with my mother and aunts and the people in my family who celebrate that. So, happy Easter, happy spring. We'll see you soon.